Do you ever wonder what happens when you cross someone as intense and mysterious as a Scorpio? Known for their passion, loyalty, and emotional depth, Scorpios are not your average zodiac sign. When you hurt them, you're not just dealing with an emotional reaction, you're dealing with an unseen force. One that's linked to powerful karmic energies. In this video, we'll uncover 20 reasons why crossing a Scorpio can be the worst decision you'll ever make, and why karma will silently punish those who betray them. But before we dive into this intense journey, let me know in the comments, what's your zodiac sign? And how do you think the moon influences your life? Let's get started with the first reason why you should never hurt a Scorpio. Reason number 1, implacable revenge. Scorpios are infamous for their revenge. But unlike other signs, they don't rush into it. They're patient, meticulous, and they wait for the right moment. A Scorpio might seem calm on the surface after a betrayal, but inside, they're carefully calculating their response. It's not about quick retribution, it's about ensuring the pain they feel is mirrored back to you. They don't forget. Their memory is like a steel trap, holding on to every offense, every betrayal. And when they strike, it's not about anger, it's about restoring balance. Karma, however, doesn't need time to plot its course. The universe ensures that those who hurt a Scorpio will eventually face the consequences of their actions, even if they don't see it coming right away. The Scorpio's revenge, while often subtle, will come back in full force, far more intense than you could have ever expected. Personal insight, I've seen this in action in my own life. A close friend once betrayed a Scorpio I knew, and though she kept her composure, the way the situation unfolded later, when the consequences came crashing down, was a testament to the universe balancing the scales. That revenge wasn't immediate, but when it happened, it was devastating. Reason number 2, intense loyalty. One of the most notable traits of a Scorpio is their loyalty. When they trust you, they're all in. No questions asked. They protect those they care about with an intensity that can feel almost overwhelming. Scorpios don't do things halfway, and their loyalty is a sacred bond. So, when that trust is broken, it's not just a personal loss for them, it shakes the very foundation of the universe's balance. Betraying a Scorpio's trust is not something that can be undone easily. Karma ensures that anyone who breaks this sacred bond will eventually feel the repercussions. The sting of betrayal can last for years, and no matter how much time passes, the universe has a way of ensuring that those who cause harm to a Scorpio will have to face the karmic price. Personal insight, I once witnessed a Scorpio friend stand by someone through thick and thin. When that person betrayed their trust, the emotional fallout wasn't just personal, it felt like the universe itself shifted. The pain the Scorpio endured was deep. But what came afterward, karma's intervention, was a clear reminder of why trust should never be broken. Reason number 3, emotional control. A Scorpio's emotional control is unmatched. They may experience the deepest pain and the most intense anger, but they remain composed and collected. They are masters of keeping their feelings hidden from the world, especially when they've been hurt. They don't react impulsively. Instead, they wait. They calculate. And when they finally let their emotions out, it's like unleashing a force of nature. It's easy to underestimate a Scorpio's calm demeanor, thinking they're unaffected by what you've done. But don't be fooled. When a Scorpio decides to reveal their emotions, it's overwhelming. You'll feel every ounce of the hurt they've been quietly holding on to. And as for karma, it will ensure that the pain you've caused them doesn't go unnoticed. The universe doesn't forget, and neither do Scorpios. Personal insight: I've seen a Scorpio friend suffer in silence after being betrayed by a close family member. The emotional weight they carried was heavy. But when it all came to light months later, the reaction wasn't just emotional, it was like a tidal wave. And the karmic consequences for those involved were undeniable. Reason number 4, survival instinct. Scorpios have an incredible survival instinct. They can endure pain, betrayal, and hardship. Yet they always rise again, often stronger than before. They are like the phoenix, constantly emerging from their own ashes, renewed and more powerful. If you think you've broken them, you're sorely mistaken. Scorpios have an innate resilience that no amount of pain can shatter. But here's the twist: while Scorpios rise stronger, karma ensures that those who try to hurt them face the consequences of their actions. The universe ensures that anyone who attempts to break a Scorpio will be left with the aftermath of their actions, feeling the full force of the karmic repercussions. Personal insight: a close friend of mine went through a terribly difficult period in her life where she was betrayed by someone she trusted deeply. What stood out, however, was how she came back stronger than ever. It wasn't just her own resilience, it felt like the universe had aligned to ensure her triumph. The person who had wronged her, they are still facing the consequences of their actions. Reason number 5, hatred for lies. Scorpios cannot tolerate lies. For them, truth and honesty are non-negotiable. Deceiving a Scorpio is one of the quickest ways to lose their trust forever. They have a unique ability to see through deception, no matter how cleverly it's masked. Once they realize they've been lied to, they withdraw, and the karmic forces ensure that the truth always comes out, often when least expected. Karma plays a crucial role here. The universe ensures that those who lie to a Scorpio are forced to face the consequences of their deception. It's a harsh reminder that you can never escape the truth, especially when you've wronged someone who values honesty above all else. Personal insight: I once witnessed a Scorpio friend cut ties with someone who had lied to them. It wasn't dramatic, but the emotional distance they created was palpable. Years later, the truth came out, and the person who had lied faced consequences they couldn't have anticipated. Karma had quietly worked its magic, reminding everyone that lies never go unnoticed. Reason number 6, highly observant. Scorpios are not just passive observers of the world around them, they are constantly processing and analyzing everything. They have an extraordinary ability to notice even the smallest details: body language, tone of voice, subtle shifts in behavior, that most people would completely miss. This heightened sense of awareness makes them extremely perceptive and difficult to deceive. When you hurt a Scorpio, it's not just about the immediate emotional pain, it's about the deep, thoughtful analysis they do in response. They will catalog every detail of your actions, your words, and your behavior. This is why it's so dangerous to cross them. Their reaction won't be hasty, it will be calculated and deliberate. And when it comes, it will be far more intense than you could have imagined. Personal insight: I had a close encounter with a Scorpio who seemed completely unaffected by a betrayal. It wasn't until months later, when the situation was revealed for what it truly was, that I realized how much they had been quietly processing. They were always 3 steps ahead, observing everything, and when they finally spoke, it was with precision and purpose. That moment taught me the value of being mindful of a Scorpio's incredible attention to detail. Reason number 7, deep emotions. The emotional capacity of a Scorpio is unparalleled. When a Scorpio loves, they love with everything they have, deeply, intensely, and without hesitation. But their emotions are not just limited to love. When they feel betrayed or hurt, They are capable of harboring deep emotional pain and resentment. Unlike some signs, Scorpios don't wear their emotions on their sleeves. Their feelings are stored deep within them. And when they finally release that emotional weight, it's powerful. If you hurt a Scorpio, it's not just about the immediate sting of their emotions. It's about the long-term consequences that follow. Their emotions are linked to something much larger, karmic forces. The universe ensures that the pain you cause a Scorpio will come back to you in a way you cannot escape. Personal insight: I've seen Scorpios go through unimaginable heartbreak, only to emerge stronger. One of my closest friends had a deep emotional bond with someone who betrayed her trust. The pain was evident in her eyes, but she never let it show to the world. Years later, she met the person who had hurt her, and the shift in energy was undeniable. Karma had ensured that the balance was restored, and the former betrayer felt the emotional impact of their actions, even though they didn't realize it at first. Reason number 8, they don't forgive easily. Forgiveness is not an easy task for a Scorpio. While they may seem cold or distant on the outside, their inner emotional world is incredibly powerful. Scorpios have a hard time forgiving because forgiveness requires trust. And once you break that trust, it's nearly impossible to regain. When you betray a Scorpio, it's not just about the immediate pain you've caused, it's about the lasting damage to a bond that was once sacred. Once a Scorpio decides that they can no longer trust you, they will slowly begin to withdraw, and you may not even realize that the distance is growing. They may never outwardly show their anger or hurt, but rest assured, they are processing every detail, and karma will ensure that you feel the consequences of your betrayal, often when you least expect it. Personal insight: I've experienced firsthand how a Scorpio handles betrayal. A colleague once broke the trust of a Scorpio I worked closely with. At first, it seemed like nothing happened, but over time, the distance between them grew, and that trust was never restored. When karma finally stepped in, it was swift and profound. The person who had hurt the Scorpio faced the fallout of their actions in a way they could never have anticipated. Reason number 9, protective nature. If you're lucky enough to have a Scorpio in your life who cares about you, count yourself blessed. Scorpios are incredibly protective of their loved ones. They are loyal to a fault, and their devotion knows no bounds. They will go to great lengths to defend those they care about, even if it means facing the entire world on your behalf. But here's the catch: if you hurt someone they love, or if you betray their trust, you won't just face their wrath, you'll also face the karmic forces that ensure justice is served. A Scorpio's protective instincts extend far beyond their own well-being. They will defend their loved ones with everything they have. And karma will ensure that anyone who tries to hurt those they care about will face the consequences. Personal insight: I've seen a Scorpio fiercely protect their family member in a way that was both touching and intimidating. A stranger once tried to deceive someone they loved, and the Scorpio didn't hesitate for a second to confront the situation head-on. The intensity of their loyalty and the karmic consequences that followed were a reminder of why it's never wise to cross someone who holds such protective instincts. Reason number 10, strong intuition. One of the most remarkable qualities of a Scorpio is their exceptional intuition. Scorpios have a unique ability to sense the truth, even when it's hidden. They can read people with an accuracy that borders on the supernatural, and they know when something feels off long before others do. They are rarely caught off guard, especially when it comes to matters of trust and betrayal. When you hurt a Scorpio, you're not just wounding them emotionally. You're also triggering their highly tuned intuition, which ensures that they will never forget the betrayal. They may not confront you about it immediately, but rest assured, Karma will ensure that your deception is revealed at some point, often when you least expect it. Personal insight: I've had the privilege of witnessing a Scorpio's intuition in action. A friend of mine had a gut feeling that something wasn't right in a business partnership. Though everything seemed fine on the surface, her intuition told her otherwise. When the truth finally came out, she was proven right. The person who had tried to deceive her didn't see it coming, and karma swiftly dealt with them. Reason number 11, psychological power. Scorpios are masters of psychological games and mental manipulation. They know how to read people, predict behaviors, and use their sharp intellect to turn situations in their favor. If you hurt them or betray them, you are entering dangerous territory. Scorpios can use their mental power to subtly twist the narrative, making it appear as though you're the one in the wrong. Their ability to control the psychological landscape means that you'll be left vulnerable, questioning your actions, while they silently regain control of the situation. They won't need to confront you directly, they'll use their intellect and understanding of human nature to ensure you feel the weight of your betrayal in ways that can be both unsettling and devastating. Personal insight: I once saw a Scorpio in a workplace setting subtly turn a situation to their advantage without anyone noticing. They had been betrayed by a colleague, but instead of reacting immediately, they slowly adjusted the dynamics in the office, allowing the betrayer to expose themselves. The outcome? The person who hurt them ended up in a vulnerable position, while the Scorpio emerged stronger, having strategically played the game with grace and precision. Reason number 12, passionate nature. Scorpios approach everything with intensity and passion. Whether it's their career, their hobbies, or their relationships, they put everything they have into what they care about. This passionate nature is one of the reasons they can be so vulnerable to hurt. When you hurt a Scorpio, you're not just attacking their feelings, you're attacking the very core of their passion. They give their heart and soul to everything they do, and betrayal or disrespect is seen as an attack on that core. When their passion is wounded, it triggers an emotional storm. Karma ensures that when you hurt a Scorpio, you not only damage their emotional world but also the very energy they invest in life itself. Scorpios are deeply connected to their passion, and when that bond is broken, the karmic consequences are profound. Personal insight: I've witnessed a Scorpio pour their heart into a creative project. When someone betrayed their trust during the project's development, it was like a fire went out within them. The emotional consequences were not immediate, but over time, karma worked its magic. The person who caused the harm eventually found themselves unable to replicate the success of the project, while the Scorpio found a new, more fulfilling direction. Reason number 13, never give up. One of the most defining qualities of a Scorpio is their relentless spirit. Scorpios never give up, no matter how difficult the situation is. They are determined, persistent, and always keep pushing forward until they achieve their goals. If you hurt a Scorpio, be prepared for a long, exhausting battle. They will not back down. They will continue to rise, no matter how many times they fall, and they will eventually come out on top. But what's even more powerful is that the universe takes note of their persistence. Karma ensures that anyone who hurts a Scorpio faces the same relentless spirit that the Scorpio embodies. You may think you've won, but if you've wronged a Scorpio, be prepared for a long battle with no easy way out. Karma will return to you with the same unyielding force that Scorpios possess. Personal insight: a close friend of mine was betrayed by a business partner, and at first, it seemed like the betrayal would break their spirit. However, this Scorpio's determination only grew stronger. The person who wronged them was ultimately left behind, as karma ensured that their path forward was blocked at every turn, while the Scorpio found a new, more prosperous path. Reason number 14, keep secrets. Scorpios are exceptional at keeping secrets. Whether it's their own personal information or things others have shared with them, they guard it carefully. But when you hurt a Scorpio, you may trigger a shift in their emotional world. They may not react immediately, but instead, they will begin to withdraw, holding back the things they once shared with you. This change in behavior isn't just personal, it's connected to a larger karmic energy. When a Scorpio withholds trust and information from you, it creates a distance that's hard to repair. Karma plays a significant role here, as the consequences of breaking a Scorpio's trust can affect you in ways you don't expect. What they withhold will slowly erode the foundation of your relationship, and the karmic consequences of that betrayal will be severe. You may never even realize what you've lost until it's too late. Personal insight: I remember a Scorpio who once shared deeply personal information with someone they trusted. After that person betrayed them, the Scorpio began to withhold important details, keeping them hidden away. The person who betrayed them eventually found themselves isolated, unable to regain the trust they had lost. The karmic price for their actions became evident over time, and the consequences were far-reaching. Reason number 15, value of respect. Respect is one of the most important pillars of a Scorpio's life. They demand it in every relationship, whether with family, friends, or romantic partners. Once that respect is lost, it's almost impossible to regain. Scorpios are not the type of people to tolerate being disrespected or taken for granted. They may forgive, but they will never forget, and the relationship will never be the same again. If you hurt a Scorpio by disrespecting them, you are not only damaging the bond you have with them, but you're also inviting the karmic forces to step in. Karma doesn't tolerate disrespect, and the consequences of losing a Scorpio's respect will be felt in ways that you can't easily fix. Scorpios may move on, but they will carry the lesson with them, and karma will ensure that those who disrespect them will feel the weight of their actions. Personal insight: I once witnessed a Scorpio friend endure disrespect from someone they had cared about deeply. While they didn't outwardly react, the emotional shift was palpable. Over time, the disrespectful person found that they were unable to regain the Scorpio's trust. The relationship slowly deteriorated, and the karma of their actions came back to haunt them. Reason number 16, exceptional memory. Scorpios possess one of the most incredible memories in the zodiac. When they are hurt, they don't just forget about it. The offense is stored in their mind, catalogued, and held onto. Scorpios remember every slight, every betrayal, every word that wounded them. This exceptional memory makes them particularly dangerous when they feel wronged. Even if a Scorpio appears to move on or forgive, rest assured, they will never forget. Time doesn't erase the memory of a betrayal for a Scorpio. They carry that memory with them, and when the time is right, they will bring it back into the light, often when you least expect it. The karmic consequences of your actions will return to you, and you will feel the weight of your mistake once again. Personal insight: I've seen this firsthand. A Scorpio I know had been wronged by someone years ago, and though the incident was seemingly forgotten by others, the Scorpio never truly let it go. When the person who had betrayed them asked for forgiveness years later, the Scorpio remembered every detail of the offense. The karmic response that followed was powerful, as the betrayer found themselves facing consequences they hadn't anticipated. Reason number 17, need for control. Scorpios are naturally independent, and they have a strong need for control. They are not easily manipulated or coerced into doing something against their will. When a Scorpio feels like they are losing control or being manipulated, they become fiercely resistant. This need for autonomy makes Scorpios incredibly self-assured, but it also makes them dangerous to cross. If you try to manipulate a Scorpio, you're entering dangerous territory. They won't allow anyone to control them, and they will push back with everything they have. The karmic consequences of trying to dominate a Scorpio will be swift and unforgiving. The universe takes note of your attempts to control such a strong-willed individual, and it ensures that you face the repercussions. Personal insight: I had a colleague who once tried to manipulate a Scorpio in the workplace. The more they pushed, the more resistant the Scorpio became, and eventually, their manipulation backfired. The colleague was left isolated, with their manipulative actions exposed. Karma ensured that the Scorpio's strength and autonomy were never compromised. Reason number 18, intensity in love. When a Scorpio loves, they love with everything they have. Their love is deep, passionate, and all-consuming. There's no halfway with them. When they commit, they give their heart and soul to the relationship. But when you betray their love, you trigger a level of emotional intensity that's hard to undo. The depth of their love is directly tied to the karmic consequences of betrayal. When a Scorpio is hurt by love, they don't just experience emotional pain, they invoke karmic forces that will ensure the betrayer faces the consequences. Scorpios don't forgive easily, and the emotional fallout from a betrayal can take years to process. The karmic impact is even stronger because their love is so pure and intense. Personal insight: I once witnessed a Scorpio friend pour everything they had into a relationship, only to have their trust and love betrayed. The intensity of their emotional pain was felt not only by them but by everyone around them. But what followed was even more incredible. The person who hurt them faced a series of difficult situations, as if the universe had aligned to teach them a lesson. Karma ensured that the emotional devastation caused by their betrayal wasn't forgotten. Reason number 19, incredible inner strength. Scorpios are known for their incredible inner strength. They can endure pain, betrayal, and hardship, and still rise again, stronger than ever. Their resilience is unmatched. Even when the world is against them, Scorpios have the strength to carry on. They have an unshakable resolve that makes them incredibly hard to break. When you hurt a Scorpio, you're not just dealing with a fragile individual, you're dealing with someone who has the power to rise from the ashes. You might think that by hurting them, you've won, but you're wrong. Scorpios will come back stronger, and they will use every ounce of their inner strength to ensure that you face the consequences of your actions. Karma will return the energy you've put out, and it will come back to you in ways that are far more intense than you could have ever imagined. Personal insight: I've seen a Scorpio endure one of the most painful betrayals I can imagine, only to rise from the ashes stronger and more powerful. The person who hurt them thought they had succeeded in breaking them, but what followed was a series of events that left the betrayer reeling. Karma, in its perfect timing, made sure that the Scorpio came out victorious in the end. Reason number 20, Scorpios will always find a way to win. No matter what happens, Scorpios will always find a way to come out on top. They may face setbacks, pain, or betrayal, but they never give up. Their determination and resilience ensure that they always find a way to turn a difficult situation to their advantage. Scorpios don't accept defeat, they use their strength, passion, and intelligence to overcome challenges and emerge victorious. If you hurt a Scorpio, you're not just hurting an individual, You're challenging someone who has the ability to turn any situation around. And while you may think you've won, you haven't. Karma ensures that Scorpios come out on top, no matter what. The universe has a way of rewarding their resilience and punishing those who try to break them. Personal insight: I've watched a Scorpio fight back from what seemed like an impossible situation. They faced betrayal in their career and personal life, but instead of giving in, they took action. Within a short time, they turned everything around, and the people who had wronged them were left behind. Karma rewarded the Scorpios' strength, and their perseverance became an inspiration to everyone who witnessed it. Conclusion: Scorpios are not just intense, passionate individuals, they are powerful forces in their own right. They possess an inner strength, resilience, and intuition that makes them nearly impossible to break. When you cross a Scorpio, you're not just facing a person, you're invoking the cosmic forces of karma, which will ensure that the consequences of your actions come back to you in ways you can't predict. So, if you ever find yourself dealing with a Scorpio, remember this: respect their emotional depth, honor their loyalty, and never try to break them. Because when you hurt a Scorpio, you're not just facing their wrath, you're facing the full force of karmic retribution. And trust me, you'll never see it coming. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the power and mystery of Scorpio. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights on zodiac signs and spiritual wisdom. Until next time, may the stars guide you, and may your path be filled with balance and respect.